Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we return to the Warning playing a rock fest in Sweden. And it just so happens they pulled out an old chestnut that I don't think they've played for about 2 years. People can correct me if I'm wrong. Queen of the Murder Scene made an appearance at this festival, surprising all the present Warning fans. And I don't know what the Swedish fans, if they were just there for the festival, they wouldn't know, but the fans must have gone bananas. So I'm interested in looking at that today. This was on the 5th of June, so by the time you're seeing this, it's not much later. It's probably been about 48 hours. We're going to take a look at that just because it is such an anomaly. And it's also one of those things that gives us and other fans hope that maybe we'll be hearing more from that album again in the future, which is something I've been saying all along, by the way, that I believe that there will come a day that they're going to play these songs again. Some of them, maybe here, maybe there, but I just wouldn't count out anything in particular. So with that in mind, Adrian, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's going to be good to hear it again. I kind of wonder how it's going to sound, if it's going to sound different somehow or not.
So the last time they played this song, I've got it now, was actually August 3rd of last year. They played it at Wacken. They played it in Switzerland at Open Air Groningen, and they played it at the Barcelona Rock Fest. Before that, they played it at Shiprocked, which was February, just about the time we began watching The Warning. And before that, yes, it was 2023. So there have been a handful of performances, but it's been a while. It was definitely a welcome presence. So let's check this out, and then we will discuss it afterwards. See what we think. All right, here we go.
Probably the best band in the world.
All right. Well, thoughts, Adrian?
At first, it seemed like Danny's voice was kind of like she was singing lower than usual. It seemed, or it sounded lower than usual. You think so? Or?
No, I think that she's doing the song pretty much the way that they did it. However, maybe it just sounds lower. It's just the fact that they're actually playing the song. That's because they've been playing "Keep Me Fed" songs throughout the whole U.S. opening tour that they just did. Yeah, so this is quite different.
It's pretty special that they did this. Yeah.
Well, it just so happens that pretty much all of those performances that I mentioned from 2024 are from rock festivals. Shiprocked, I think, counts as a rock festival, just a floating one. They did 2 shows, and it was a week-long cruise, I believe. So there were a lot of bands, but, so it was kind of the same type of a thing. So I think that they pull it out for the festivals, particularly any that are over in Europe, because you're looking at Spain, Germany, Switzerland, and Sweden now. It makes sense because that's where heavy metal really has a following, that goes on to this day. It's probably more popular in Europe than it is even in America, at this point. So I'm not surprised. And it's such a killer song for a festival like that. It's a heavy one.
Yeah.
I mean, not like they don't have others, but that's a particularly heavy song. That's one that reminded us a bit of Black Sabbath when we first heard it. I remember it. I still feel that way. Loved Danny's facial expressions during much of that. She really, we did a lot of that. It was great. It's always great seeing that.
Rock and roll.
That's right. So that was loads of fun. I'm glad we took a look at that. We kind of broke things up. We've been trying to get through the show at the Observatory, but, they've started touring again. What do you want? They're going to play Queen of the Murder Scene. We're going to have to drop everything and take a look at it. We are going to look at least one other song from this show. We'll just have to see what happens because I know that they have a slew of shows coming up. Rock im Park, or is it Rock im Park or Rock I Am Park? Nuremberg, Germany. Actually, that's tomorrow. And when this goes up, it'll be the same day. It'll be that day. And then the very next day, that Rock am Ring, Nürburgring, Germany. Don't kill me. I know these are terrible pronunciations. And then June 11, Nova Rock in Austria. And then June 12, Visarno Arena, Florence, Italy. And that's another festival. And then another festival on the 13th, Greenfield Festival in Switzerland. So they may very well play it again. And then they'll be playing in the Czech Republic. I happened to look at an interview that dropped yesterday by the time people watch this, where Pau talked about her unfortunate experience with mashed potatoes in the Czech Republic the last time they played a gig there. And it looks to me like it's the exact same festival. So look out for the potatoes, Pau. You might want to skip those. What am I telling you? I know you know that already. And then Frankfurt on the 17th for Batch Cup. And then the 18th, Den Atelier in Luxembourg. The 20th, Hellfest in France. 21st, Grass Pop Metal Meeting in Belgium. It's just a, ongoing list. And then June 22nd, Pink Pop in the Netherlands. Another famous one. And then they have a few weeks off. And then they're back in the United States. They haven't yet put anything up past August of this year, it would appear, so we don't know what else is on their schedule in the near future, whether they're going to swing through America again in the fall. Maybe they'll hit up Boston. I know there's a lot of people in Boston that are a bit disappointed that they didn't hit it this time around. I can't imagine it's going to be very long before they're in Boston again, because it seems to me to be a stronghold for them. They've got some wild fans up there, so... So if you're in Boston or anywhere that didn't happen to make the list this time, I wouldn't worry too much. They're getting around. They've been touring the United States a couple times a year for the past 2 years, 3 years actually. So I'd say chances are good it's going to happen soon. Anyway, why don't you let us know what you thought of this? And if you have any other suggestions for us, please leave those below, particularly anything from this tour that they're doing right now would be great. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. Don't forget, we have interview reactions, reviews, and actual interviews going on over at Modern Rock Talk. Check it out if you haven't. There's about 50 warning reactions over there, and I just dropped one that's about an hour and a half from where the Shiprocked producers talk to them, and it's fascinating. A lot of new stuff in that one. Meanwhile, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one, all right? Take care, folks.
See you all later.